This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Coming to a theater near you. Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock all my doors. It's the only way to live in cars.
So I just keep going.
I'll let you go as long as you want. Cars.
So, hey. Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent. And I'm Zack.
I was just jamming there. We'd like to thank you for listening to our last episode, our Comedy of Comedies episode.
Comedy of Comedies.
The fallout was so hilarious.
Honestly, I didn't really look at any of the comments, but I'm pretty sure that everyone agreed.
Yep.
And they all thought that we had the greatest answer. Unrelated note, I have turned off notifications and deleted all my social media. Totally unrelated note.
Yes. No, it's interesting to see. It's almost as if comedy is a subjective art form.
Right? Even on this show itself,
Based on
right? We
people's
disagreed on movies.
We totally did.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, after declaring the winner, after seeing some of the blowback, which happens on every bracket
absolutely.
we do.
Well, we kind of do it on purpose.
I went back and I said, did this, spoiler alert, did Dumb and Dumber really deserve to be the winner?
No.
And I went and watched it, and guys, absolutely. If we were to do that bracket again, I would absolutely vote the same way again. It is hilarious, and I loved it, and I will watch it again and again.
Most listeners disagreed.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I like Kent, by the way. You remember how you hate straightforward comedies?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to point that out.
Yes, there was a lot of people who said that they hated, but they admitted that this was hard.
Yeah,
and they said
it's super
that they felt
challenging.
bad for us, and they still like our show.
My wife had mentioned to me, she actually did a bracket at home, and she said, here's the thing. This bracket consists of movies I don't care about and movies I can't decide between.
Okay.
So she got to this point where she's like, I'm just done. I can't. These ones I don't care if they win or not.
Right.
These ones I can't decide between. So
We're going to have a lot more brackets to come.
But I think that may have been our most divisive, if I may say.
Ever?
Because comedy is so divisive.
No.
Ultimately, this whole situation was best summed up by KP Brown, who said, "You are all horrible for eliminating my favorite movie. I hate you." Great episode. That was a quote by
like every bracket episode.
the listener after every bracket show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
We're talking about cars.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Boom.
But this time we're talking about movie cars.
Because this is a, shall we say, spiritual successor to Baconsale episode 342, Cars.
With Rachel and Adam.
Yeah, with the Crumps.
Yeah.
We had a great time talking about real-life cars with them last year, but we decided to go into the fictional area this time and talk about cars from movies and TV shows. So we have a series of categories that are about fictional cars or real cars but used in movies and TV.
Right.
And we're going to be picking answers for each one of them with a little bit of history, a little bit of details.
Yes.
Play along at home, won't you?
Will be so fun. Our first category, we're going to look into the future.
The future, Zach?
The future. The best car from the future. Joel, start us off.
Here he comes. Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. My first
that
pick,
anime from 1967.
not that one.
And a Wachowski movie.
The future, 1965.
Oh.
No, I chose Mach
Mach
5
5.
from Speed Racer. He's jamming down the powerful Mach 5.
Go, Speed Racer, go.
I love that song, but I love the song version by Sponge. I don't know if you guys ever heard that version. It's fantastic. Anyway, the show synopsis of Speed Racer is young driver Speed Racer aspires to be the champion of the racing world with the help of his family in a high-tech Mach 5 automobile. But now, I should clarify, the original series was animated series, was back in 1967.
Yeah.
And, let me visualize the car for you. This is like a very sleek-looking, low-riding, white racing car with a giant red M written on its hood.
Unmistakable.
Which stands for what, Kent?
It actually stands for the last name, which is like Mitsune.
Mifune? How do you know? Is this one of your picks?
Later on down the list. But it's not Mach. Even though it's kind of become Mach, which also means go.
Yeah, the car was built by Pops Racer, Speed Racer's father, and even though it's called the Mach 5, it actually can't reach a Mach speed.
But hypersonic speed still. No, it's
Mach,
really
but
fast.
It's not Mach. It's really fast. And it's weird because I don't know, in my mind, watching the movie, the 2008 movie directed by the Wachowskis.
Underrated.
I think
Is that just accepted that it's good now? Can we say that?
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think it is an amazing Blu-ray or 4K tester.
Amazing. Yeah, totally.
Put that on and you've got so much fun happening on the screen. I also think the races were fantastic. But is it in the future or is it just an alternate reality? I'm not sure. But I wanted to put this here because I wanted to put some love to this Mach 5 car because it is awesome.
It is awesome.
Why do I think it's one of the coolest cars? Because it has buttons, like almost like a PS4 paddle. On the wheel, it has buttons. I'm going to go through all these buttons real quick.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Button A is an auto jack. It lifts the car up or jumps it over something, like pushes up over something. Button B stands for belt tires, which is all-terrain driving, which includes ice and like walls. Button C is cutter blades. Knives come out, or a blade comes out of the front and cuts through obstacles. Button D is a deflector. It's like a shielded cockpit that pops up. I should clarify, this is for the original 1967 because they kind of changed some of them in the movie.
A little bit.
Button E stands for evening, which is like special illumination. You can shine lights on stuff.
And you can see further with your goggles.
It's like high beams.
Yeah.
But better.
But like for goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Button F is Frogger mode, which I think is hilarious.
You go underwater for a half hour.
And has a periscope. Periscope, as they call it, not periscope. And Button G is a go-homing robot that sends out a flying robot to take pictures. And Button H sends the robot home.
Yeah. I'm playing my cards right now. The Mach 5 has won every single one of these categories.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
You love this car.
I love this
This is your
car.
ultimate car.
I
Yeah, this
did
is my
not know
ultimate.
you were such a speed racer guy.
I didn't, honestly, the movie started, and now I've just kind of grown an appreciation for what this car can do.
Huh.
Yeah.
One thing
I want it so
one
bad.
Fun fact I liked about this car is that it wasn't driven on pavement. They really built this car. It wasn't really racing, but what they did is they suspended it in the air and hung it from a crane.
Yeah.
And then drew the effects around it, which I think is, instead of being completely computer generated, it's a real practical car. But I think Speed Racer drove a beautiful car. I'd love to have the Mach 5 in my garage, regardless whether it actually worked or not. It just looks cool.
It does look so cool.
Little white racing car.
I love it.
Look
Great.
it up if you haven't. We got
Great choice.
visuals for these.
Kent?
The spinner from Blade Runner. I need a flying
Okay.
car. If we're going to go a car from the future.
Now describe the spinner, Kent.
Okay, the spinner looks like every car except for basically the hood is cut out. It looks like a car version of a pod racer because you have like these two.
It also kind of looks like the little thing they swim in, like the little submarine
no,
thing.
truly. And the Star Wars prequels took from Blade Runner,
Okay.
the reference, and they put actually these cars. Back to the Future took from this movie as well. Granted, this movie didn't invent flying cars, but they actually took the style of car and put them here. And the style is the two front tires look like they're just kind of hanging there, and they actually roll and they become propulsion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like the DeLorean in Back to the Future, which we will be
Yes.
referencing a lot on this episode.
Right.
But can you describe Blade Runner?
So
to the
Blade
folks at
Runner,
home?
the first one, there are two of these movies, but in the first one, a Blade Runner must pursue and terminate 4 replicants who stole a ship in space and have returned to Earth to find their creator.
So
basically,
trying to find androids that look like humans.
yeah, and so there are these cops, and the only people that have these kind of cars, the spinners on this planet, are cops and wealthy people.
And you're talking about the original Blade Runner.
I'm actually
with
going
Harrison
more
Ford?
for K's in 2049. I like the style a little bit more, and they show the car driving on land because the tires can roll back and it can also fly.
Ken, are you talking about Ryan Gosling again on Baconsale?
I am talking about Ryan Gosling. He looks so good in this car.
I still haven't seen this movie.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You really should.
Like, and I say beautiful in the sense of cinematic. Just,
Yeah.
Wow.
So in his car is called the Puget
Sound?
Puget spinner.
Peugeot.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And once again, this car style was used for The Fifth Element as well as the other movies I mentioned. And in 2049, these cars can be armed with guns and missiles. These are really kind of like helicopters of the future. They're really just used for surveillance and for taking people into buildings that are really, really high
Then why is it the
skyscrapers.
best car from the future?
Because it flies. It can drive and it can fly. Like, why not? It's the only car on my list that can fly, so I needed this. But my only worry, and there is this huge digital dashboard with these cars, I do hope there's like lane detection and radar, so I'm not crashing into the other spinners.
Every
Because
time I
that's
see-
my worry about flying in a car.
Yeah. Every time I see flying cars in movies, I'm always like, hey, what happens if it runs out of gas or power and just drops from the sky?
Right. And they say they're electric. So,
Boogie.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, the spinner from Blade Runner.
Can I just throw a question out there for you guys? Because you mentioned pod racers. Would we include that in?
I would.
Are we?
We could
sticking
actually
closer to
probably
cars?
save that if we do another show.
Oh, so just vehicles in general.
Yeah.
Oh, just a general vehicle.
Well, yeah, because I don't know if any of us chose motorcycles on the show.
I
right?
almost did.
I didn't.
Okay. Zach, what about you?
I'm in the same wavelength as you, Kent. I was thinking about the future, and I think there's a lot of cool cars. I don't anticipate seeing this again, but like the Lexus in Minority Report, that's
That kept
pretty
coming
cool
to
car.
mind.
or
honestly.
the Audi in iRobot.
Yep.
But those are just kind of like
Self-driving
regular cars,
and really
but
cool looking.
not-
They're
not-
really close to reality.
Yeah, they're not future enough for me. So
Right.
similar wavelength. I did go with Corbin Dallas's Taxi in the Fifth Element. I wanted a car that could fly. And I always found it was almost like a hot rod. It made cool sounds, and I liked the way that it moved. And I also just thought it was like a regular kind of beat up car. Kind of reminded me of Star Wars, but it was so fun. The Fifth Element, in a colorful future, a cab driver unwittingly becomes the central figure in the search for a legendary cosmic weapon to keep evil and Mr. Zorg at bay. Now, this is set in the 23rd century, in which Corbin Dallas,
Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich,
Mila Jovovich, and Gary Oldman is the
I couldn't remember his name.
And it's just everybody flies in their cars, and it's no big deal. It's just how things have changed.
Right. And there's traffic.
You go through the McDonald's drive-through, and you just fly.
Yeah.
Right.
And
they do it pretty well.
It's pretty entertaining. The car itself is based on the drawing by a French comic book artist, Jean-Claude Mézières. Published in 1994 comic Valerian and Laurine, The Circles of Power. When the director Luc Besson saw a sketch of the car, he's like, oh, that's what I want. Change the design. And if you look at a picture of it, it's essentially just the taxi from Fifth Element.
Yeah.
So I think it's a chase that they have in the taxi is a really fun scene in the movie. And that's what I'd pick. Now we're going to go best in a street race. We have all of our street race cred here. So Kent, tell me what you picked.
Wanted to go last because I have an honorable mention that I'm just going to put out there first.
I'll let you go last. I'll go first.
Will you go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. Zach. Okay. Zach
so
started
giving, Zach.
So Zach, best in a street race. What did you pick?
I wanted to pick cars that I personally liked.
Yeah.
That not just, maybe there are faster cars. I could talk about a certain Fast and Furious franchise.
Are any of us going to mention the Fast and Furious franchise?
Guy.
I love car guys, but I'm not going to mention that franchise.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to mention that franchise at some point today, but not.
Okay.
Mine comes from a movie in which a retired master car thief must come back to the industry and steal 50 cars with his crew in one night to save his brother's life. Of course, I've picked Eleanor.
Thank you.
The 1967 GT500E from...
This is why I wanted you to go first.
Yes. Gone in 60 Seconds. Really, the car is the star.
Yes. This is I don't want to be vague about it. This is my second favorite movie car. I'm not going to talk about my favorite movie car on this list. But yeah, I couldn't find a category for it.
I will
next time.
But this movie, Gone in 60 Seconds, is based off of a 1974 car chase movie. That original movie had a Ford Mustang, a Mach 1, that they had a huge chase scene in, and it became this icon, Eleanor. Well, then when they wanted to reboot it, it's a Jerry Bruckheimer movie. They wanted to make it big and bombastic. They did make the car just a lot cooler.
So they made it cooler by giving it 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds instead of 6.5 seconds.
Yes.
So at the go, you're one of the fastest cars out there. You also have a 428 cubic inch V8 engine and 355 horsepower. That's a lot to say. And 15 seconds for the quarter mile. If you live your life that way.
I love that you said that. Some of that's right, too.
Yeah. The stats on these cars are kind of tough.
This particular car, actually, I believe it had a 351 crate motor. But,
well, yeah, you got to have a crate motor. Come on.
It's a different thing.
Sorry, guys.
Why would you have a crate? Why would you not have a crate motor?
What's funny is this is a car that actually doesn't exist. It was never manufactured, right? It is the car itself is a 67 Shelby GT500.
Can you help me visualize this car better? What color is it?
It's gray with black stripes.
Ah, there we go. Now I know what car it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see John Wick? It's really similar to that car just a few years earlier.
That was a horse, Kent. John Wick rode a horse.
It's like that, but with racing stripes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This car was designed by several different people, but mostly by a guy named Chip Foose. He essentially put some modern touches onto the car. So if you look at a 67 GT500 from the day versus Eleanor, there is a little bit of a difference, and such that Eleanor has become its own character. It has its own life outside of the movie. For me, instantly identifiable, to the point where from a long distance at a car show this past weekend, I saw a car and went, oh, that has an Eleanor body kit. I just knew. It in of itself has become an icon. So where the original car was called the GT500, this one is called the GT500E for Eleanor.
But why is it best in a street race?
A lot of horsepower, modified, about 400 horsepower, which anymore is not that much. Even if
is that because of the crate motor?
Yeah. It wasn't the motor that came in.
It's not Cubit?
It's a Cubit.
Yeah.
That's in the Bible. What I appreciate about this car is it has modern updates to it that do make it faster.
Yeah.
Now, does it have NOS?
It's got a go baby go button, and to the point where in the movie, they rev it at such a high RPM and then hit the nitrous button that in real life it would have blown up, which means that this car is literally indestructible.
Nice.
Even though
But heavy.
it gets crushed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's heavy.
It's heavy.
All those old cars are. But a lot of the body panels and hoods and things were replaced with fiberglass, so it did make it a little bit lighter.
So, Zach, what kind of sound does it make as you're pulling up to the start of the race line? All right, here comes my car. You ready? Okay, here we go. Because I chose an ugly car because I want to be underrated when I get to that line.
Yeah.
I want people to think, why is he even here? Is that his little brother's car? Because I chose the 2006 Subaru Impreza WRX from Baby Driver.
Yeah, red WRX.
I like that Zach knew the new movie before you knew the car.
I didn't even say red because this is a
it's red. Got
This is
it.
a red Subaru. It is not a pretty
It's
car
not even
whatsoever.
an STI. It's just a WRX.
It is a WRX STI
Oh, it is an
because
STI?
they souped it up for the movie.
LMNOP. Gotcha.
So for this movie, they souped it up, right? Just for this movie. Because there's your basic models, and they're quick. But for this, they added forged CP pistons, an Exidy Stage 1 clutch, OS Geiken front differential, and Cusco rear limited slip differential.
Cusco.
the limited slip
The Geigen fronter was my favorite.
Now,
thing.
Zach, you may hit 0 to 60 faster because I'm at 5.2 seconds, but I hit the quarter mile a little bit faster at 14.9.
Wow.
This is a very light car, and this is why I chose it.
My old Mustang was faster than that.
Ruby?
Yeah.
I remember Ruby.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But I like this car, and I almost chose it for another category, obviously, but I wanted it to be here because I want a car that is underestimated, and I think that's what I'll do here.
This isn't a contest, but what do you think your car would go for at like an auto auction?
Oh, about $26,000.
Yeah, probably. Well, in this economy, maybe 34. Eleanor.
This sounds like a contest, Zach.
Yeah, Eleanor sold at auction for $1 million, but you can have your own for only $500,000 if you can find a body.
$500,000?
It's going to cost you more.
That's more than I make in a month.
I just won your pink slip by beating you in the race. All right, Joel, you're pulling up to the race line. What does your car sound like?
So Zach's car is, if I may say, sexy.
Yeah, yeah.
Lovely. Oh,
Kent, your car is, may I say, practical,
Very.
but less sexy.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm the ugly one here.
you know you're not. You're beautiful.
I'm pulling up in a 1963 Volkswagen Beetle because I'm driving Herbie the Love Bug.
Honestly, Joel won. Herbie comes out of nowhere, and with those special effects,
With underestimating, I'm telling you.
How did he win the race backwards?
So if you don't know who Herbie is, the Love Bug synopsis is: down on his luck, race car driver Jim Douglas teams up with a little VW bug that has a mind of its own, not realizing Herbie's worth until a sneaky rival plots to steal him.
is there a reason why Herbie is alive? Like, was it like a racer got struck by lightning?
No, it was Blood Oath. No, this is back in 1969. Disney was being quirky with their live action movies. This has Doug Jones in it, Buddy Hackett. It's a goofy
Lindsay
movie.
Lohan.
No, not yet.
Joking.
She was in it later.
Yeah.
But it's a sentient, semi-anthropomorphic Volkswagen Beetle. It's kind of a white body with red, white, and blue racing stripes.
Unmistakable.
And the number 53 on the front luggage compartment lid on the doors.
Is that its
on the
maximum
engine lid.
miles per hour?
Probably is. But Herbie was the central figure of 5 movies, a made-for-TV movie and a television series. So you get people like Doug Jones or Dean Jones driving this car, but you also get people like Lindsay Lohan, you mentioned Fully Loaded, Bruce Campbell drove it in the TV show, I believe it was. But you got Herbie Rides Again, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, Herbie Goes Bananas. And it is such a silly movie, but Herbie knows what Herbie's doing.
Yeah.
So it's capable of driving itself and is a serious contender in most auto racing competitions. So I would pull up and you guys be like, what's he doing here? And then the car would just take over. I wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah, no, self-driving.
It would be pretty awesome.
But you would be on a road trip. You'd still win the race, right?
Yes.
But you'd do a full road trip across the nation, like really quickly in a montage.
Probably solve a couple murders.
Yeah,
and, save
and then
a bank
you'd beat
heist.
us right at the line.
Yeah. Which, by the way, fun fact about Herbie, in the movie they mentioned that they named the car Herbie, the mechanic does, after his uncle Herb, who was a boxer whose nose became shaped like a hood of a Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and to do the driving, this is revolutionary back in the 1969 time.
All right.
They had like sprockets and pulleys connected to a second steering column under the front seat, and they had someone sit just low enough where their head barely was above the dash.
What?
So they could drive it and make it look like it was driving by itself.
Respect.
I mean, down the road they did obviously CGI. And
Sure, yeah.
remote control. Back then, there's a real driver driving that around. So Herbie the Love
Great
Bug,
choice.
I'm driving you in a street race.
I really appreciate that choice.
Thank you.
I think you just won our cars.
Spoiler, all my picks are goofy.
Now we're going to go with the best off-road vehicle. Kent, do you actually want to start this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a post-apocalyptic wasteland, a woman rebels against a tyrannical ruler in search of her homeland with the aid of a group of female prisoners, a psychotic worshiper, and a drifter named
Tangled.
Max. Yeah, it's Tangled.
Yes.
Eugene. No, and it's Maximus is the ride that they take. No, my off-road vehicle is the Giga Horse.
Yes. I wanted to use the Giga Horse. I think that's a great
Explain
choice.
the Giga Horse.
Okay,
From
so
what movie?
It's from Mad Max Fury Road.
Yes.
So this vehicle, just picture like basically monster truck tires that are just lifted beyond measure.
Yeah.
And then you have two
Cadillacs.
Cadillac coupes sitting on top of each other. And these are 1959 Cadillac Coupe de Villes, just basically melded together. And this is Immortan Joe, who is the villain. This is basically because he's like the king of this land. The Cadillac is meant to represent that. This is his grand vehicle. Obviously, it's armed to the teeth. There's windshields on both the bottom and the top. And
What kind of off-roading are you doing?
basically, nothing could stop me. I can go over any terrain. And you can chase people in the desert.
Why are you chasing people in the desert?
No, I didn't say I will. I said you can.
You will.
But this vehicle is anything but mediocre. This has 1,200 horsepower. Maximum speed is only 125, but if you're off-roading, you don't want to go too fast. So I'd probably stop at about 117 or something like that. But yeah, there's a plow on this thing as well. It is just souped up. And there's room for your friends. You could carpool. In Moab, you could do Moab just by like barely even getting into second gear. So if you guys want to go for a road trip, it gets about 1.7 miles per gallon. So sorry about that.
Wait,
Gasoline is very valuable in that world.
I just made up that stat, but it feels right based on this vehicle. Anyways, totally ridiculous. If you don't know what this looks like, just picture the poster of everyone chasing Mad Max, or go look this up on Google, and you'll see the big
that's a trap.
vehicle. Yeah, scary. Anyway, Zach, what do you got?
You think that's ridiculous?
Yeah.
But does it obey the laws of physics?
Yes, it does.
Because my car doesn't. So we talked about best off-road vehicle.
Right.
What comes to your mind when you think off-road?
Like a Jeep.
Like a Jeep. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Big
You're going
tires.
on the dirt, maybe. You know, maybe a little mud.
Yeah.
What about the sky? What about...
Oh, you're literally going off-road.
What about this? Is the sky off-road?
Yes,
What
it
about dropping out of an airplane from the sky onto the ground with a parachute? That's right. We're going Furious 7.
Wow.
Wow.
Furious 7, Dom Toretto's 1970 Dodge Charger, but the 4x4 version. Because really, he drives a 70 Dodge Charger.
Wait, so are you just going to be flying with a
in
parachute?
every game?
Why don't you just
He
go
flies-
full Furious 9 with the space hero?
No, I gotta have one of the Chargers.
Okay.
It's
They went to space?
They went to space. Dom Toretto's signature car. It drops out of the sky in a big carrier plane, and it's got these enormous 4x4 wheels. It's got a couple extra wheels and extra tires in the back because it's a Baja truck.
But what
just so happens
color
to
is
be.
it?
It's black. Of
Okay.
course it's black.
That helps. The color
helps
car really
me.
helps.
Seriously,
the
it
black
does. Okay.
one that Dom drives.
Thank you.
But
Because yours
it's
is black too, right?
No,
Kent?
it's more green and gray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so this beefed up version of a big muscle car. It has no business being on the off-road. However, they essentially turn it into what they call a trophy truck.
Yeah.
And Furious 7, terrible description here. Derek Shaw seeks revenge against Dominic Toretto and his family for the comatose brother. I don't
They
know.
know how to sell it on IMDb.
It's Furious
Sounds like
7.
a Lifetime movie.
It's Furious 7, but it is the plane drop scene in which Dom and the gang, they drop out of an airplane.
Ludicrous.
He's literally
in that too.
Ludacris
Yeah,
is
yeah,
in
yeah.
it. Ludacris is in the only, I believe, he's in the only other like off-road capable vehicle. He's
Yeah.
in a Jeep. But there's of course the Charger drops out. There is, I believe Brian is in a Subaru Impreza.
Okay.
There's
Great-
a Challenger
great
and a Camaro and like all these cars where you're like, okay, but they really go all out with the Charger. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I like it is legitimately from
So
the looks
you're
of
making
it,
an entrance.
Yeah.
I'm like veering off of the main highway,
Yeah.
and you're dropping from the sky.
but it is built in the way of what I said, like a trophy truck.
Yeah.
That are designed to run the Baja 1,000 miles of desert. It's built that way, and that is, a trophy truck is the ultimate off-road vehicle, and this is a cool version of that. So I'm going to take Dom Toretto's 70 Charger from Furious 7.
Love it.
I could have honestly picked one of his Chargers on any of these categories, but this is the one we're going with.
Nice.
Right, Joel?
Yes. Gentlemen, when you hear the name Ian Fleming, what do you think of?
James Bond.
What car-wise, what do you think of?
Well, I know the answer because I think it's a great answer.
1964 Aston Martin DB5.
I think it's from a book he wrote.
I think you may be right, Kent, because you were pretty grounded. Zach was in the air momentarily. I'm in the air all the time because I'm driving Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh,
That's right. Ian Fleming wrote James Bond novels, but he also wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
write
Actually,
Chitty
he
Chitty
had
Bang
a
Bang.
heart attack in 1961. And
roll-
he decided to write this children's novel based on all the stories he
Oh, it
told
was in the
his
60s.
kids.
Okay.
Yeah. But the movie was set before that.
Yeah,
time,
okay.
Of course. And so they have this car. Well, okay, I'll just read the synopsis here of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Ooh, chitty chitty bang bang.
That was the witch doctor. Ooh,
No, it's not.
You
It's
said-
chitty chitty bang bang.
It's oh, you pretty chitty bang bang. Chitty,
Ooh,
chitty,
it's
bang, bang, we
ooey.
love you.
I don't know lyrics.
Ooh, ooh, ching, ching, wada, bing, bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty, chitty, bang, bang. Okay, so here's the show synopsis. A down on his luck inventor turns a broken down Grand Prix car into a fancy vehicle for his children, and they go off on a magical fantasy adventure to save their grandfather in a far off land. And this had Dick Van Dyke and Sally Ann Howes, and a bunch of other people. But this is a this has a pre-war Mercedes chassis with a 6-cylinder Maybach military aeronautical engine that was typically fitted to Zeppelins. To help you other people out there, it's silver and red with like red striped wings that pop out.
The second those wings flail or there's a hole in one of them, you're grounded forever. That thing will not be able to drive in the sand.
This car is also semi-sentient. I think that's a theme of my
Yeah,
cars. It has a mind of its own in that way. There were 8 cars produced for the film.
Yeah.
Because they needed to have them in different situations, like one flying, one as a boat, one driving. And by the way, the version built for the stage production holds the record for the most expensive stage prop ever used.
Wow.
I don't think that's the Hale Center Theater one. I think that's
No,
probably
but they
the
actually
theater
do
one.
let it float on that one.
It's pretty cool,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
It's really cool. So this was a junker car that was restored by Caractacus. Yes, I can never say it. Caractacus Pot. And he restored it over the period of 3 months. And then he said, quote, certain modifications, certain changes had, so to speak, taken place all by themselves during the night when I wasn't there. Certain, what shall I say, rather revolutionary and extraordinary adaptations. So yes, this car can fly. It's
part
it
Zeppelin,
can
right?
float. It's a hovercraft.
Yeah.
It can save you from the rising tide when you're on a sandbar. This car is fun. It's fast. And I think it'd be great for off-roading, which Zach, yes, does include the Sky.
Does it come with toot sweets?
Toot Sweets. Absolutely, they're in the glove box. Crammed full. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Now, these off-road vehicles have been entirely too practical. I mean, they're really capable.
Really?
vehicles.
Herbie and
My
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
sentient cars.
Yes. No, we need to have a car that is completely impractical, but you still want to drive it, Joel. Okay.
Oh, Gregorian monks.
I could have picked the Batmobile for any of these categories.
Okay, but Joel, which one?
I was going to say all of them, but I did narrow it down. I want Tim Burton's Batmobile. This is the one with like a long, low, sleek. It's got a Chevrolet Impala chassis.
No rise to it whatsoever.
It says the back of the Batmobile represents the back of the Fiat Turbina, which was a gas turbine concept from the 1950s. It is 21 feet long, 8 feet wide, and about 4 feet high. This is a low-riding, fast-going, amazing car. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds with a maximum top speed of 330 miles per hour when you use the jet booster and a jump distance of 7,270 feet. 10,000 horsepower.
This is awesome. Why is this impractical?
Because when am I going to use that? When am I going to be driving down the street and be like, oh, I need to take a left? I'm going to shoot out a grappling hook out the side to grab the wall so I can take this corner really fast.
I do not remember. Can you take a passenger in this vehicle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does take Vicky Vale in this one,
right.
in the Batman one, which, by the way, the synopsis is Batman. And then you also have, of course, the Browning machine, the M1919, did I say it? Browning machine guns hidden behind each fender. You have shin breakers, oil slick dispensers, and smoke emitters.
Yep.
You
don't need these in your normal life?
No. You have a CD recorder. Who's going to use that?
Oh, like a CD burner for like
I guess
PlayStation
so.
1 games?
And then there's the feature in Batman Returns, which I am sliding a little into Batman Returns because it's the same Batmobile.
Yeah.
But they call the Bat Missile when the two sides pop off so you can drive through a very tight.
That was the
narrow
money
thing.
shot, honestly.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Once again, but then can it keep driving? I don't know. How do you get those sides back?
I think you don't. I think you have to just repair it in the shop after that.
He's rich.
I found out, by the way, Batmobile, the first appearance in Detective Comics number 27 back in 1939, but it was just an ordinary red car.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
an
never
Oldsmobile.
referred to as the name by the Batmobile, so it kind of doesn't count. The name Batmobile was not until Detective Comics number 48 in February 1941. They finally said, this is the Batmobile, but it had like a
had
bat
his face on the front.
of it.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. I really do think this car is so beautiful. Like, I look at it and I'm just happy. I had toys of this car that I like put on my shelf and like posed them around. There were 3 Batmobiles built for principal photography. One of which I want to add is owned by comedian Jeff Dunham.
Of all people.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a Batmobile, be a puppeteer.
Or steal from Jeff Dunham.
Hard pass.
You guys want to do a heist?
We already did.
We did. We took all
With
the
the
Batmobiles.
Batmobiles,
We stole them from Jeff Dunham and put them in Mount Rushmore. Anyway, the Batmobile in any form would be wonderful, but I'm going to choose the 1989 Batmobile as my completely impractical car, but I still want to drive it.
All right, Joel, that's a great choice. But my choice is...
Wait a minute. You're not picking the Tumbler?
Batman, the animated series Batmobile.
Oh, yeah, I guess
This
driving in a
thing-
drawing would be really impractical.
This thing, and I agree. At 21 feet, the Batmobile is ridiculous. The turning radius is 0 on that.
Yeah.
This one is about 27 feet long.
It's like-
the cockpit is at the very back of the car because basically, I don't know what's in the hood. I don't know if it's the engine or if he keeps the bad guys in there.
Oh,
right?
probably, yeah.
Because he never kills. He just stores
Arkham
them in the
Asylum.
Batmobile.
Yes.
But it is the longest vehicle. This has no height to it. So if I go on a speed bump, I'm high centered.
Yep.
Like,
What do they have that little thing in the middle where like the little platform that pops up so you can turn 360 degrees? Remember that?
yeah, that takes like 3 minutes. How does Batman chase bad guys in this? Like, it must be on a freeway where they're just going straight because the car is incredible.
Yeah.
When it's like that.
Just driving around Gotham.
Both of these versions, they are armored, so at least you can drive through barriers, so you don't really need to turn at all. Just try not to kill people if you're Batman. Just like you said, Joel, it has smoke and oil dispensers, wheel slasher hubs, missile racks, tear gas dispensers, ejection seats. This is so ridiculous. But man, would I love to drive an old school Batmobile. And I've always loved the animated series one. Because it really matches like the noir vibe
Art Deco
of everything.
thing
Yeah, Art
going on.
Deco,
Yeah, it's very
exactly.
nice.
Even though it's so silly, why is there so much of a hood there? I don't get it.
It's a lot of engine, man.
It's a lot of
impractical.
engine. Yeah. Anyway, Zach, what do you got?
Gentlemen. Bum 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 bum.
Is this forever?
Bum, 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 blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
This is
that's
forever.
Oh, no, this is an impractical category, gentlemen. We're going completely impractical. My Batmobile does not have a canopy.
That's
my
Batman and Robin.
My Batmobile does not even have a second seat. No, mine is a 33-foot-long, tall-winged monster from Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
This is the
Oh.
George Clooney Batman
Yeah,
movie.
indeed.
The George Clooney
Wait,
Batmobile.
33 feet long?
33 feet long. 6 flame-shaped columns form a V-shaped output of 71 inches in length. That's the back is insane. This has a maximum speed of 230 miles an hour on the open road with a 350 mile an hour top speed with the afterburner. And it's powered by a Chevy 350 engine.
What?
With, of
That's
course,
it?
the single jet exhaust in the back, the Batmobile boat tail.
This one's a little bougie.
This one's super bougie. That's why I went with it, because it is
also,
the most
well, it's also
impractical.
got the cool lighting effect going on in it too, right?
Cool.
It
Well,
does.
As,
Oh,
a,
it featured-
as a teenage kid, it was cool.
It featured designed
Merchandising.
designed by Harold Belker. He also did the Batman Forever Batmobile, but it featured light up wheels and engine panels.
Yes.
And
This was LED lighting on cars before
Yeah,
LED lighting.
exactly.
apparently this car, you think it's impractical, but apparently it actually is able to make a 90-degree turn due to the way that the wheels turn. If you remember in
Yeah,
that movie,
it turns
it flips
completely
sideways
sideways.
so he can dodge the
That's
missile.
true.
And parallel park. I've always wanted
It
that.
can
Yeah.
parallel park so easily.
It's still 31 feet long.
But it's an aerodynamic design. That's why the hood's so long here. And that insanely long fin on the back, it helps you cut through the air or something.
or something.
So do features of George Clooney's Batsuit. Cuts right through the air.
Those are not aerodynamic.
And I love this here. This is from Wikipedia, the source of all knowledge and truth. It says, it is prominently featured in one scene in which, as Batman and Robin are in pursuit, Mr. Freeze shoots the underside of the car for several seconds with a freeze gun before the car crash lands. However, in the next scene in the Batcave, the Batmobile is sitting back on its pedestal, appearing in perfect condition. Alfred's good.
It was the undercarriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had my undercarriage frozen.
Yeah.
What?
What?
No, this one is the most ridiculous, least practical. You don't even look at it for a second and think that, oh, that's going to do something for you.
No.
It's literally just a rich guy in an extravagant car. It doesn't have
It doesn't have the class of the 89 version.
Yeah, it doesn't
right?
have the class of the Art Deco style of the 89 one, and even more so with the animated one.
Right.
It doesn't have the brute strength of a Tumbler or Ben Affleck's the Batfleck Mobile.
Batfleck Mobile. That's what it's called.
But I have to shout out, this one is less practical. That's why I picked it. But I do also love the one in Batman Forever, mostly because of the toy.
Yeah.
That switched between the boat and the plane.
Yep.
In my mind, that Batmobile also did that, but I realized in the movie they're three separate vehicles. But really, we know. It's all three. So that's a little too practical.
Way to go, Batman.
We love Batmobiles on Bacon Sale. As many of you may know, if you've been listening to Bacon Sale for a while, Joel and I are best friends, and not Kent. But I want to know what car would double as your best friend.
Felt really personal.
There was a barb and then a left hook. Right?
Yeah.
Ken,
Glad for you guys.
You can start. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're saying because you guys have best friends, I now get to pick a best friend?
You can pick a best friend, but it's a car.
I still feel hurt. You know?
Sorry.
And look,
buddy.
Herbie is kind of a great choice for this one.
such a good choice.
But I'm going to go for the next gen Herbie, which is Bumblebee from the Transformers movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Bumblebee, to me, is Herbie, but plays better music and speaks through memes. Right?
He does, through the radio there.
It's kind of like almost like talking to a friend exclusively in GIFs. Yes.
What is Bumblebee?
Bumblebee is...
Well, what's your Bumblebee?
That sounds like a deep question.
Yeah, like
so Bumblebee...
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee, if you go by the movies, it starts out as a Jeep, but originally in the toys was a Volkswagen Beetle. A yellow.
Yes.
By the way, Joel, yellow.
Yeah.
That's the color of Bumblebee.
Oh, I know what Bumblebee looks like.
Yellow and sometimes black even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the cartoon.
But it started as a Volkswagen Beetle, and they show that in the Bumblebee movie. But when you jump into the 2007 version, it starts off as a 1977 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, and I'm going to go through all these models. Then it quickly goes to a 2006 Camaro Concept, then in the sequels to the SS, the 67, the GT9, and finally the ZL1. And
Those are all Camaros.
Yeah, the ZL1 is a little too flash for me, but the speed is incredible.
I agree.
I really
agree
like
too.
The Camaro 67. I think is really great, and I also like 2006 Camaro Concept. But Bumblebee cannot talk. Megatron took his voice box, and so he lost the ability to speak verbally, but he can still communicate through the radio.
And it's sad how he keeps losing it every movie.
Yeah,
He gets
right.
it, and then he loses it.
And then even when they kind of like reset the story, he
Yeah.
still can't speak.
Yeah.
But much like Herbie, and that's why I think these two are kind of aligned. Herbie is the love bug. Bumblebee will help me get Megan Fox. Right? Bumblebee is the best wingman.
You're saying you're gonna pick Bumblebee because he can help you get the girl.
Yes.
All right.
Bumblebee, for Sam Witwicky, kicked him out of the car at the right time, played songs at the right/wrong times, right? But at least to start conversations.
Mm-hmm.
The best wingman and truly kind of funny to be around and can turn into a giant robot, which is pretty freaking cool. Bumblebee for the ZL1 can go 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, has 650 max available horsepower, and 4 available powertrains, which I'm assuming is a car part.
Yes, I would assume the same thing.
Zach, what do you got?
Zach, are powertrains car parts?
Well, yes, kind of. No, it's a lot of car parts. I can't
Yeah,
decide.
obviously.
I can't decide between two. Joel, you go first.
Oh, okay. Wild card.
Well, then I'm going to choose Mr. Feeney. Otherwise known as
there you go.
otherwise known as Kit from the
Should've
Knight
known.
Rider.
It's the right choice, but also he's condescending.
No, that's the thing is, I think he'd put me in my place, which
Yeah.
was fun. Like we just verbal sparring there in the car.
Right.
So if you don't know what Knight Rider is, a lone crime fighter battles the forces of evil with the help of a virtually indestructible and artificially intelligent supercar. Yes, I'm going with another sentient car because apparently I don't like to drive. I like the car to drive for me.
You've got a type.
This was on from 1982 to 1986. Starred David Hasselhoff as Michael Knight, and then the voice of Mr. Feeney is William Daniels, who's also the voice of KIT, which stands for Knight Industries 2000.
What's the backstory? How did Kit become Kit? Demon possession?
Yes, probably
Blood
Blood
Oath?
Oath again. Yes, no, this is actually technology. It was made by Knight Industries, and it's actually KIT stands for Knight Industries 2000. It is a black. There's the color. 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am.
So cool.
They tried to reboot it with a 2008-2009 Ford Shelby GT 500 KR,
I much preferred that one.
but that was not KIT. KIT
No,
is a
it
Pontiac.
It was not
Trans Am.
Kit. I would rather have that car.
The car was designed by the late Wilton Knight, a brilliant but eccentric billionaire who established the foundation for law and government, FLAG. They have so many acronyms in this. as its parent and its parent Knight Industries. So he was made to be on the mainframe processor in Washington, D.C., but then they saw a better use for him in fighting crime, and so they put him in a car.
In one car?
It's a supercomputer on wheels.
But
And
it's
guys,
one car. It's not like a system.
Kit has over 1,000 megabits of memory.
Whoa!
Woo!
Is that like a PS2 memory card?
Yeah, it's basically a floppy disk.
Yeah.
No, but he can learn, communicate, interact with humans. He's capable of independent thought and action. He does have an ego that you can bruise,
absolutely.
and he's a little bit, he's humorous.
Right.
But things you can do with Kit as your best friend. He has a loudspeaker and can perform ventriloquism. He can communicate you 2 ways through your wristwatch. He has then you have a homing beacon that I get a gold pendant that I wear around my neck that has a homing beacon in it, which is pretty cool as well.
He has accessories.
He can monitor radio transmissions and telephone communications. He can trace calls. He can break access codes. He can give me an EKG, an ectocardiograph, just in case my heart's doing weird
I'm
things.
so disappointed in you.
Why?
No turbotine.
Well,
Wow.
I think we
Joel.
retired turbotine.
By talking about it once?
I don't want a guy who turns into a car whenever he gets hot. That would be awkward in the summer. It wrecks so many homes. But also this is the big kicker right here. By the way, he gets 65 miles to the gallon because he runs on hydrogen fuel, but he can do any combustible liquid.
Wow,
Really
okay.
good gas mileage. So that's great for my wallet.
Kit
Yeah.
is a Prius.
He's a
rude.
pre-Prius.
Prius?
Yes.
Hate that.
But he also has an in-dash entertainment system that can play music and video and run various computer programs, including arcade games. Plus, Kent.
Pong.
Plus, Kent.
What's the video
you
app?
You can play Pong on this.
All
Plus,
SD all
in
the
case
time.
in case you need to go on a date and you forgot your wallet,
Yeah.
Kit can dispense money when you need it. Like an ATM.
Kit's like an Apple Pay?
He's like an ATM. He'll put out some cash, and you have to find someone that'll take cash. And then if the
Wow.
date's not going well, he also has 2 front ejection seats. So,
Well, you had to go there.
but
You had to go
Kent,
there.
Once again, if the date does go well, he can tint the windshields and windows to become opaque.
Oh. Oh, but Kit's there. Gross.
A little bit. But this isn't my this is my best friend, so it's not your best friend, so.
It's your best friend.
I choose Kit from Knight Rider.
Other than Zack.
I love that car. So it's a black car with a little Cylon back and forth red light on
and
the
that is
front.
cool.
Which it was designed by the same guy who designed Cylons, I believe. But I really do think Kit was awesome back in the day. I'd love to have him as my best friend.
Zach, does that help you pick yours?
Not at all.
Sorry.
Hold on just a second. I'm literally going to decide.
Is that my mom or is that?
Was that on
It
your
was
computer?
it was an ad.
Oh god, that was weird.
That's like creepy.
I'm like, oh, that's fine.
There we go.
By the way, we're at 47 minutes.
How many are we in? 4?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left.
Okay.
So we're halfway through.
We're having fun.
Man, we always get the hour and a half shows.
Gentlemen, do I have to drive my car, buddy?
No.
That doesn't.
Wait, do you want to drive your car, buddy?
I would think.
Isn't that a bonus?
Like if it's
Yeah.
turbotine, don't.
Okay, so it's not Lightning
you don't want
McQueen.
Mater, right?
Lightning McQueen.
No, don't choose him.
Yeah.
Because you can't get in him.
Right.
Because there's guts.
Because there's guts inside.
Like your
If you
his
haven't-
eyeballs.
If you haven't looked at an artist's rendering of the cross section
The anatomy
of a car's
is
car,
not good.
Don't. It's scary.
In fact, cars exist in a time where humans are dead.
It's true.
Yeah.
If you look at the Pixar timeline, it's insane stuff. Well, then fine. I'm going to go with one of the more beautiful cars ever made. This is a 1964 Lincoln Continental convertible. It's
What color?
This particular one is white with, I believe, a purple interior. Because I'm going with the Gadget Mobile, specifically from
the live action.
1999. Matthew Broderick starring in Inspector Gadget.
There it is, guys. Wait. Nope, there it is. That's the first
Bacon's
time.
all over.
That's the first time it's ever mentioned on the show. That
Also,
movie.
I'm just going to put it out there. French Stewart's is better.
Now.
Yeah.
No,
Save it for our
is better
Inspector
looking.
Gadget show.
A security guard's dreams come true when he is selected to be transformed into cybernetic police officer.
I've never brought up this movie on the
never
show.
once.
Never. This is a very customizable car depending on the situation.
This has all sorts of gadgets. This particular car was built by Dr. Brenda Bradford to assist Inspector Gadget in fighting crime. According to Brenda, Gadget Mobile is a he, and he is a heavily modified Lincoln convertible, one of the more beautiful cars ever made. It's got the suicide doors that open the other way. I've always wanted one of these cars, and it's in a lot of movies. There's a Lincoln in the Matrix, again, all sorts of movies, but this particular one talks to you. He's D.L. Hewley. And
So he's
In the
sassy.
movie, he talks to you, not
Yeah.
the cartoon, though, right?
not in the cartoon. No,
Okay.
in the cartoon,
No, in the
it turns
cartoon, it's a van that
turns into a
race
van,
car.
and it looks like a Lotus Esprit.
It does, yeah.
But I want
it's silver.
I want him to be like, "Good
Oh, no, I know.
morning, Riverton. Who's in the car? I work alone." Like that whole thing.
Okay.
That is just ingrained in my memory from watching that movie so much as a child.
Why?
I don't know why.
I think I've got a really good handle on Zach's movie taste now.
Yeah, apparently. One of the most notable things that he does is when they're trying to chase a criminal, he camouflages himself as a hedge and trips the criminal into the car, and then a little cage comes out and traps him. How useful is that?
That's-
What are you using that for,
We're
Zach?
going to go fight crime.
Do you want to chase people in the desert?
Zach, we could make a crime fighting team.
I could help
Well,
Kent.
Kent's getting girls.
I could help Kent get girls.
Yeah.
Because I can lock him back.
Love it.
What?
Wait, what? No, don't love it. What did I say? What did I agree to that?
Family friendly.
No, it's a fun car. It's a beautiful car. And, I'm okay. He talks back.
Yeah.
And he helps. If I am trying to solve crime, he will help me. He'll figure out that the SI on the little piece of metal stands for Skolex Industries. I needed to know that information.
What about
That's a
Skrillex?
reference
What were we
from the
talking
movie.
about?
Wow.
Okay.
This
So
is
much
the
Inspector
most
Gadget.
we've ever talked about the live action Inspector Gadget.
Next time, Gadget. Good. Next time.
Except for it's
We all have to do it.
Rupert Everett, who is Prince Charming in Shrek 2 in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We'll move on. Next, we're going to go on a family vacation. What is your family vacation car?
The Monster Coach.
Oh, nice.
From The Munsters. A family of friendly monsters have misadventures, never quite understanding why people react to them so strangely. So the Monster Coach, to describe it, it looks like a haunted carriage.
hearse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hearse, but what it actually is 3 Ford Model T bodies, all kind of
Frankenstein together.
literally Frankenstein together. This car is 18 feet long.
And it's black.
It is black. What makes it look so interesting is there's the driver in the passenger seat, and then there's like a cabin/carriage right in the middle, which is kind of nice because that's shaded, because otherwise the cars are convertible. But then there's the bucket back seats, and I think this is best for a family vacation because people can sleep in the middle carriage if you want. Or if you want the kids to kind of leave you alone and just play on their iPads, they're sitting way behind you in this convertible. So you can't even hear them complain or anything. It's not super practical because 18 feet long, it doesn't have a lot of turning radius. But you
Wait,
kind of
how
get
long?
18 feet.
That's like half of our Batmobiles.
Yeah, no, true story. The engine was built on a 289 cubic inch Ford V8, built for a 1964 and a half, which is a thing, Mustang. Zach, is that a thing, 1964 and a half?
Yes, that's the very first Mustang.
Is that like the
It's
line?
64 and a half?
It was released partway through the model year.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. This goes 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. And I just really like the fact that you can separate everything. Anyone can choose their own music based on whatever compartment
I'm
you're
listening
in.
to Dragula the whole time.
Yeah, and there is Dragula, which becomes like a miniaturized version of that.
Yeah.
And it's more of a roadster, which is pretty fun, or it's literally sometimes just a motorcycle with a carriage on the back. But yeah, so the Monster Coach, I think, would be a great family vehicle. Zach, what about you?
I don't want to mention mine. I don't want to be made fun of, but I stand by the choice.
It's Inspector Gadget again, isn't it?
It's Inspector
Again?
Gadget. It's the other Gadget Mobile.
There's another one?
I know we're not doing honorable mentions, but this didn't come from me. This did come from Barbara Blake, who said that his family vacation vehicle would be the bus from Speed. Because think about it. You want to make good time? You literally can't go slow.
His family's in there, and it's going to blow up.
Hey, kids, we're
If
going
it
to
goes
jump
under
out now.
55.
That bus doesn't make it. You're all going to have to like ride on a little dolly underneath the
Is
bus.
Blake okay?
You want to make good time?
Okay.
That's how to do it.
Pop quiz.
But then my wife brought up another bus, another iconic bus.
Magic School Bus?
Well, I'll just read the description. You tell me if you know. World famous pop group the Spice Girls zip around London in their luxurious double-decker tour bus, having
Joel, you
various
see through
adventures
Baconsale.
and performing for their fans.
Zach, no one's seen this movie.
I
You never see Spice World?
no, I have, but no one else has.
Oh, I haven't
give
seen it.
me the custom double-decker bus from Spice World that the Spice Girls
Stop
get to tour
right
in.
now.
I like
Thank
that
you
pick.
very much. That's, I mean, you need to hang out with your girlfriends. You're in there. You got all
Girlfriends,
sorts
I'm
of,
trying to get one.
you got couches and
But
and
if you want to be their lover, Ken, you got to get with their friends.
gotta get with my friends. Well, there's places to lay down, places to put your shoes, treadmills to work out on.
Yeah.
You can do all sorts of hanging out. You can sing along with the girls. How fun is that? A little carpool
wow.
karaoke,
I like this
James
pick.
Corden
I
style.
like this pick.
Of all the buses.
Yeah, you can have the manager announcing to you everything that's going on. On top of that, in real life, gentlemen, apparently, You can stay in the Spice World bus. It's now an Airbnb.
Oh,
Baconsale overseas trip.
absolutely. But here's my question. If you're taking your family on this trip, do the Spice Girls now are they contractually obligated to be in this bus? Like, it's Victoria Beckham and David Beckham. Are they in this bus currently?
He's not a Spice Girl.
They could only get the 2 of the 5 at any given time.
Sporty and Baby.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, Ginger's like, I guess I'll be here for a couple
Ginger
days.
never wants to be part of the band anymore, let's be honest.
But yeah,
Save for our Spice Girl show.
Posh when she has
Tier 1
some time.
Ginger. That's the only time I'll ever say that.
Tier 1 Ginger. Oh, jeez. Yeah, 2 of the 5 only at any given time.
Okay.
But yeah, when I found out, I was looking into it. Apparently, they put it up as an Airbnb.
I've totally be down.
I don't know how many people have actually stayed there, but you can actually go and look online
it's clever.
at pictures.
Because it's like an RV, like you're actually on a trip.
Right.
And you can stay in it. I love that.
I think you're going to live the most comfortably in this. I'm certain it handles terribly. It's a double-decker,
Sure.
UK bus, and it's British, so it's going to break down a lot. The electrical system has issues, but I'm going to have a good old time in the Spice World bus.
I want to join your family, Zack. Much more than Blake's family. Okay, so I was going to say, you guys know I have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And anything less than a bus probably wouldn't fit my entire family.
Agreed.
So I'm only going to have to take my favorites here because I am going to take the Griswold Family Truckster. Oof. You think you hit it now? Wait till you drive it.
Yeah.
That's the slogan they use. This is from National Lampoon's Vacation. If you don't know the story of that, the Griswold family cross-country drive to Wally World theme park proves to be much more arduous than they ever anticipated. And this stars Chevy Chase and Beverly Angelo, Randy Quaid, John Candy, Christy Brinkley, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But this
in the Ferrari.
Yes, she is. Yes, a beautiful Ferrari. But this is a 1980. Well, it's based on a 1983 Ford LTD Country Squire station wagon. Now, if you don't know what it is, picture a box on wheels.
Yeah.
And it has metallic P green paint, PEA, green paint, wood paneling decals, 8 headlights, a grille area largely covered by bodywork with only 2 small openings to close to the bumper, an oddly placed fuel filter door, and an airbag made from a trash can liner.
This is made to look cartoony, right? This was an actual model.
Well, the whole point of the movie is he goes there because he wanted this specific car, and he
Right.
gets there and the car salesman kind of talks him into this other horrible
family
car,
vehicle, exactly.
That this other horrible car, and while their car is getting demolished, and it is an ugly car. Now, why would I want to drive this? This is actually a very practical reason. Because me driving this around, and this has a bunch of station wagon seating. It's got the seats that kind of face each other in the back. It's kind of awkward. But driving this around, if I were actually to drive this car around, I know there would be fans of Vacation out there who would just be like, it's the Griswold Family Truckster.
Oh, yeah.
And it would bring so many smiles to people's faces. In fact, I found a website where people have recreated this car. And they take vacations around and talk
so
about
good.
their experience of people wanting to take pictures with them and freaking out because they get to see it. It's an ugly car, but I think it'd be so fun to drive.
Any
around.
luggage up top?
Yeah, you could stack some bags or your dead ant, whatever you want to put up there.
No big deal.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Joel, I'm so happy. This was my first choice, and I was really hoping that
good.
someone else would pick it.
You gave it up for Spice World.
The
though.
Spice World
I
choice
was
too
really
good.
hoping you'd go Mystery Machine and all 72 of your kids would ride up on the front seat.
But we'd have to solve mysteries, and we're already fighting crime. It'd
Oh,
be too busy.
true. You're right.
Yeah. I like how we're gaining the personalities of these cars as we drive them.
You have to use it for their intended purpose.
This is now your job.
Well, your job is now getaway driver. What is your getaway car?
Zach, you're starting us off on
I'll
this
start
one.
us off. Okay. I think in order to have a good getaway car, you have to have space for guys to jump in the back. So 4 doors is a requirement. There are fast cars out there that maybe they don't have a back seat. Maybe it's not a very functional back seat.
Sure.
Get rid of all the Mustangs that I wanted to put on this list. You guys may or may not know, I'm a big fan of James Bond.
A little bit.
And the James Bond franchise in general. And I could have put a James Bond vehicle for any one of these.
I still have waited this whole time to hear you pick a James
Right,
Bond.
you
Well,
chose Fast and Furious before James Bond.
Now is the time,
Okay.
gentlemen. I'm going
you chose
to give
Inspector
you-
Gadget before James Bond.
When you think of James Bond, what kind of cars come to mind?
Aston
We did
Martin.
this earlier. Aston Martin, of course. Definitely not that awkward time in the 90s when Pierce Brosnan was driving BMWs, but here we are. the BMW 750iL from Tomorrow Never Dies.
All right.
The remote-controlled car.
Tomorrow Never Dies, where James Bond sets out to stop a media mogul's plan to induce war between China and the UK in order to obtain exclusive global media coverage. It's one of the James Bond movies. This was when they were sponsored by BMW and did not actually drive Aston Martins for a very brief time. But this BMW 7 Series is an infinitely practical car because it is, as far as I can think, the only like proper James Bond car that has 4 doors.
All right, yeah.
And it's a 7 Series, so it's a large vehicle.
Did he drive like a Land Rover in the last one?
Yeah, I guess technically, but that wasn't like issued from Q, right?
Yeah.
Q always gives him like a 2-door.
There's no gadgets involved there.
At some point, he drives a 71 Mach 1, a Mustang. It's terrible.
Slower than a Mach 5.
This has a 5.4 liter V12 engine, 346 horsepower, top speed of 250 kilometers, which is a certain amount of
That's like
miles
70
per hour.
miles per hour, though. Right? Metric system.
You love your 0 to 60. It's 6.3 seconds, which actually isn't that great.
It's not that great.
But the big feature with this one, I mean, obviously it's got the usual accoutrement, right? It's got rockets and machine guns and ejector seats and oil slick and all that. But this one is the one that you can control with your phone. This is a Tesla before there was Tesla. You can sit in the back seat, all slunk down like James Bond, and you can draw on your Palm Pilot.
And they're shooting at you in the bulletproof glass. This also controls the little tiny blade that pops up out of the hood to cut the wire at exactly the right height.
It just happened to be the perfect height to cut that wire.
Q knows what he's doing.
Oh, it's so good. This is one of the more featured cars, I think. It has more of a personality than many of the cars. There are certainly a lot of car chases, but this one, I think, is the goofiest of the James Bond car. Maybe outside of the Mach 1
Roger Moore era?
Well, I mean, the submarine Lotus was good there, too.
Yeah.
But this one, it's all about, like, look at what the car can do in this car chase.
All right.
Because he's driving it with his phone from the back
Of all
seat.
the Bond cars. That's the
all
one.
the Bond cars, back seat. That's the getaway car.
Take it easy.
Okay.
So I want to introduce you guys to Remy Julien. He's a renowned French stunt driver who worked on The Italian Job. And he also worked on James Bond films. But I'm going to be talking about Condor Man. Dun, 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 dun,
Don't get
dun.
after Zack for Inspector Gadget when we retired Condor Man in season 2 of Baconsale.
Kent, I think that Condor Man should be remade with you as the star.
Why would you say that?
Because this is about a cartoonist who becomes the superhero he always wanted to be. All his drawings, he's able to contact the CIA and come to life.
Where do I sign?
So this movie came out in 1981. It says Michael Crawford, Barbara Carrera, Oliver Reed. And I just want to set the scene for you.
All right.
They're trying to get away in Yugoslavia, I believe. And they're driving what they call this old gypsy camper van. It's just kind of this old-looking car. And all of a sudden, all these bad guys come driving up in Porsche 935 Turbo Carreras. And they are the Prognovich, and they're there to kill them. And she's like, we'll never get away from this old truck. And he's like, watch this. And so he presses some buttons. The seats lowered down, and all of a sudden they're in this dark compartment below the giant van they're driving in, the camper van. And then he hits a button, and this bright yellow sports car comes shooting out of the front.
It's like a yellow Firebird. It has bright red Firebird.
It's a modified 1972 Nova Sterling sports car, yellow with a big drawing of a red condor on the hood.
And the spoiler is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he comes flying out. They're flying down this mountain road, and then he has all these different things that the car can do with a very complicated series of button pushing. Like it's like A1 split. Enter, like there's a lot of that to it, but he has rear laser machine guns from the license plate above the twin jets. He has flames that shoot out the back and lights the Porsches on fire. The front of the car can become a ramp when one Porsche is coming towards him. He puts up the ramp and then it flies over the car and lands on the Porsche behind him.
So you're an inconspicuous car at some point, but when you really need to get away.
Then I got
the Condor Man car.
As a kid, that was the coolest thing to me. Better than any James Bond movie I've ever seen. When it was one car disguised as another car, and it shot out the front. And then when they're all chasing him and they're not going to get away, he drives off the end of a pier, and these two pontoons basically inflate on the side of the car, and it starts driving across the water. I thought Condor Man had the coolest car ever. I would love to have that as a getaway car for whatever I maybe need to get away from.
Sounds great. I love it.
Condor Man.
Kent, what about you?
This is where I'm finally using it. I'm choosing the Mach 5.
Hey, go Speed Racer.
And here's the thing. as soon as cop sees the Mach 5, they'll be like, hey, that car's unmistakable. It was in that heist last week. And then I'll probably be like, oh, no. And then I'll run away. But the thing is, I'll only ever use it for heists. And no one will ever catch me.
What are you heisting?
Actually, I'll tell you specifically because it comes from the skills the homing robot bird can do. It says it can carry small Egyptian statues.
That's very specific.
Very specific. So I'm going to be stealing those.
You're going to resurrect Moon Knight?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to steal those. I have a ton of trunk space, and so I can fit people or small Egyptian statues. And it has 4 jacks that just pop up. They can be used as springs. There is 5,000 horsepower distributed to all 4 wheels, rotary saws that this could be an off-road vehicle. This can cut through other cars. It can jump over other cars. No one will ever catch me. Granted, everyone will notice me, but hopefully I'll just hide it in my base. And so I will be fine.
You have a base now?
Yeah, I'm speed racer.
Is that what you call your garage?
Listen, if we get the... Listen, where we record this podcast, it's my base.
It's my base.
You guys want to come to the base? Bacon base.
Our next category is, I guess we should have mentioned it to this point. The DeLorean is a pretty big deal from Back
Is
to
the
the
show
Future.
brought to you by the DeLorean?
It's brought to you by the
I didn't pick it for anything
Neither.
because it seemed a little obvious.
Well, we had a category here that basically was like, we know the DeLorean's really cool, but what's another one?
Talk about something else, which we had this as a category on our regular Cars show with the Crumbs. This is the Non-DeLorean Time Machine. What car?
So we choose any movie or TV car.
What movie
Right.
car are you turning
and
into
if it goes
a time
88
machine?
miles per hour,
It'll go to the future or the
okay,
past.
flux capacitor and everything.
And the thing is, last time it was practical cars, real life cars that
Yeah.
we knew or loved.
I picked a van.
In this one, I went, you know what? You're not going to let me pick the DeLorean, then I'm picking the Ectomobile from Ghostbusters.
You think,
Why not?
You think that's going 88 miles per hour?
Eventually, downhill.
What? You're pushing it.
We talked about Ghostbusters extensively, just on the last episode, but it's Ghostbusters. But this car is a 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor Sentinel limo-style end-loader combination car. Wow, that was a mouthful. Ambulance conversion. It's the Ecto one. This is a kind of obnoxious-looking white. There you go. There's the color. A white car with a big Ghostbusters logo on it, and then it has like an ambulance's gurney in the rear, so you can put all the proton packs or snacks if you're going to the future. You know,
So you're going to bring Gushers to the future.
Yes, the back of my Ectomobile will be full of Gushers.
Can I come?
Or Ecto? Remember Ecto Cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing but Ecto Cooler back there.
Oh, man.
And then also they have
pies.
gadgets mounted on the top, which never in the movies is really addressed, but in the cartoon, it's a giant proton pack that you can use against like giant ghosts. Originally in the script, the Ectomobile was going to be like able to travel through dimensions. So I went, okay, so it's already equipped for this. And it was actually supposed to be a black car with purple and white strobe lights that gave the vehicle a purple aura.
All right.
But they said that's going to be hard to see on TV, on the movies, so we're just going to change it to a white car. But
It's so iconic.
When I think of iconic movie cars, the DeLorean is one of the first ones that come to mind. Ectomobile is second. And so I went, you know what? Ectomobile. Let's get that time traveling.
I love it.
Best of both worlds.
I like it.
Hannah Montana
You're
style.
making one stop and you're stuck in time.
Probably it'll break down, but I have all those Gushers, so I'm good.
You're living the good life.
Yeah.
He died doing what he loved, eating Gushers.
Love Gushers.
All right, for mine, I
Not a
have
sponsor.
a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Does it come in black?
What?
They're taking the tumbler.
I'm taking the tumbler through time, baby.
Double
Tumbler from The
Batmobiling it.
Dark Knight.
Yeah, well, Batman Begins.
Okay.
And then it, obviously throughout the series, right? I was so fascinated that they tried to get away with this in Batman Begins, right? Remember, because we all know and love the Burton Batmobiles. And then you're like, it's an army vehicle. But somehow it obviously works for that franchise of The
Really
Dark
does.
Knight. And it's just so intense. And it's a little more grounded, which sounds so weird because it's just bulked up in every way.
But it's reality. It's this militant vehicle that's so cool.
Which is specifically why I'm choosing it, because when we did our regular car show, I was like, well, what if you go back in time and there's dinosaurs and no roads? Well, the tumbler's going to survive, right?
Yeah.
It has a vector-controlled jet engine on the back for quick boosts or jumps, has a stealth mode, explosive mines are deployed from the rear, it's heavily armored, you have a bat pod in the car, which granted, it feels like a cheat. It feels like a cheat to use the bat pod.
The Batpod was a big surprise, though.
Big surprise.
I loved it.
That was like the modern moment of when the Batmobile lost the fins. He went through the alley. That was that moment.
Yeah, totally.
So cool.
The Legolas elephant moment.
Yes.
Anyways, and obviously rocket launchers, guns, and everything. Like, this car has it all. Is it impractical in real life? Yes, but it actually still works as a car. It's 15 feet long. It weighs 2.5 tons. It goes 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. Max speed of 160 miles per hour. And yeah, the Tumbler really is one of those Mach 5 cars that I just want it eventually.
I completely agree with that, Kent. And then, like, if you get stuck, you can just that little rocket boost over the
on
the
roofs,
dinosaurs,
and then screaming, Rachel. All right, Zach, your turn.
I was trying to think of a car that, because what's one of Marty's biggest problems when he goes back in time is that if he was driving
His mom.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
If he was driving his DeLorean around, people would be like, "What on earth
Right.
is this machine?"
which is why I'm driving the Actimobile.
They thought that it was from space.
Right.
So I wanted to get an older car that I would feel comfortable driving in. I honestly considered Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but I thought that was just a little much.
All right.
But if you think about it, if you have an older car, you have a wider range of time in
That's
which you
true.
can just drive the car
You
around.
see an older car driving around now, you're like, oh, cool, they got a
Yes.
classic car.
Yeah.
But then you can go back in time and you can still drive it around, and depending on how old the car is.
Flintstones.
So naturally, I've picked Fred Flintstones. No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that car. But I would want a car from 1973's American Graffiti. A group of teenagers in California's Central Valley spend one final night after their 1962 high school graduation cruising the strip with their buddies before they pursue their varying goals.
This car's yellow.
This is the Yellow Deuce Coupe, the Ford 5-window
You know
coupe.
what you got.
Yeah, it's the Ford 5-window coupe that John Milner drives.
Does she have four on the floor? Per like a
Competition
kitten
clutch.
roar?
Yeah. That's the Beach Boys song. No, pretty sure this one is a Ford hot rod, but it has a Chevy engine in it, which makes me sad. But no, this.
Do you know why I can't? I don't know why.
Why would
Why would it make
Why
him
is that
sad?
Yeah.
I don't. Are you okay?
I don't exactly remember. I'll have to look that
Okay.
up. But no, this it's such a cool, iconic car because it's that classic hot rod. It was, they took prominence in the 50s by taking a 1932 Ford. It was 32, 33, and 34, but they just call them all 32 Fords at this point, and making it into this modern vehicle, and it became the signature statement of cool.
Yeah.
And in American Graffiti, honestly, a movie that's kind of forgotten to time. Like, this is the first featured George Lucas directed movie. And it is a really good coming of age tale about one night as you're cruising the street in a bygone era. But the car itself, iconic, super cool. Also, shout out to Harrison Ford in his black Chevy, who plays Bob Falfa. And I've seen this movie a bunch of times, and I love the car.
It's beautiful.
every time.
Yep.
But I feel
A lot
like
of good cars in that one, actually.
a lot of good
classic
cars. There's like the Gallon
of the era, yes.
Gallon Thunderbird, and there's a whole bunch of stuff.
It makes you wonder if like people back then were driving up in Model Ts, being like, "Check out my classic car."
Yeah, at this point, I mean, this it was set in '62. This is a 32, Ford. So it's a 30-year-old car.
Very
right?
smart thinking.
Yeah, but now again, as a time machine, and I was talking about that. I set this up to be a time machine, and it would look a little modern again because it was more of like a 50s car. They took the 32 Ford and made it a 50s car, but it's technically would still exist in the 30s, but I don't want to go there. I hear it was terrible around that time.
And Velociraptors, they can open the door too. So be careful.
There we go. That is entirely true. And also,
Is it a soft top? Is it a convertible?
It's a hard top.
Yeah, it is.
And again,
You're safe from raptors.
It's yellow. But I also don't want to mess with time too much. The passenger capacity is not huge in this car.
All right.
I'm not going to mess things up.
No gushers then.
No,
Joel, I'm coming with you.
There's plenty of room for gushers.
Gushers are going to mess anything up. Well, it may kill a dinosaur.
Now we're going to head off to prom. Give me your prom date car.
Zach, I'm sorry.
What?
I'm going to disappoint you with this pick, and I didn't know I was going to disappoint you until this episode.
The only way you can disappoint me is by not picking me up for prom, Joel.
Aw, wait.
But you guys are best friends and prom dates?
We're going double.
It's a group thing.
Yeah.
Dutch?
Didn't you get the invite?
No.
Oops.
Anyway, no, Zach, I'm sorry. I didn't know this was going to disappoint you because I didn't know this was a bad thing. Maybe we talked about it before.
Yeah.
I'm picking the blue BMW from GoldenEye.
Wow. Yeah.
Because
The Z3.
yes, it's
Yeah.
it's a 1995 BMW Z3 from the movie GoldenEye, which is Pierce Brosnan's first James Bond film. And It is the first time 007 used a BMW in the franchise. Because before that, it was Aston Martins and classy cars, except for Roger Moore, whenever he drove.
Yeah.
But this one is honestly on screen for less than 2 minutes, and I think Jodan Baker may drive it more than Bond does. Because he hands it off to Jodan Baker. What's his character's name? I don't even remember or care. Jack Wade.
Not Felix Leiter.
Not Felix Leiter, and not the bad guy he was previously in a previous James Bond movie.
Oh yeah.
Beside the point. But he hands it off to him. James Bond hands it off to this other guy, and then he gets on a helicopter. And so it's barely in the movie, but I'll tell you what, it made an impression. It was on the movie poster. I remember the blue BMW come down, and I thought it was one of the prettiest cars I'd ever seen. In fact, this once again, Zach, I'm going to disappoint you and probably most of the listener who knows a thing or two about cars. This car, I loved maybe more than the Porsche Boxster. That was also that light blue color.
Yeah.
But I thought they were both just beautiful, pretty cars.
Right.
I loved both of them so much. But this one got the win on this one because it has...
The Porsche Boxster is if the Porsche made a Honda Civic, you're good.
Okay. Good.
I like the Boxster.
I think the Boxster's beautiful.
Yeah.
But this car is supposedly equipped with Stinger missiles, and it has a heads-up display and a deployable parachute, which you need on a prom date.
Of course, yeah.
Why not? It's left-hand drive, which would really mess me up.
You get used to it.
But I found out in the research of this that this was the first of BMW's 3-film plan with the Bond franchise. It started with GoldenEye, it concluded with World Enough, but I didn't know this was a black eye on the James Bond franchise.
Because it's not an Aston, and it's not British.
It's not. It is actually the first non-British production car to be featured in a Bond movie, so it was very controversial.
And hopefully the last.
But yeah, so there you go. I picked... this is one of the few cars issued by Q that does not get destroyed in the field.
Yeah,
so
because
how's that going for
Joe Don Baker just is like, oh, well, I guess this is mine now. Bye.
And maybe it's just because of pure aesthetics, because it has that beautiful kind of baby blue color to it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because Isabella Natalia.
Yep.
Natalia? Yeah.
I love her.
That she was in it, and somehow that connects me with thinking this is a beautiful car for beautiful people. But I think this would make a great prom date car.
I agree with you, and I actually like this one. I can't remember which one it is. I think it was maybe one more film. Anyway, there was a follow-up to this car called the BMW Z8 that is not nearly as good looking in my opinion. I think this is a really cool car. So good choice, Joel. I approve as much as why are we picking the BMWs? Anyway.
Mine is built by Italian coach builder Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera.
That was spot on.
And Joel, you're crazy because the correct choice is the 1963 Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger. This is the only choice. And we've seen many versions throughout the Bond movies.
I think you could pull this car off if your knees weren't in your face.
Are we saying it wouldn't fit? Zach, could I fit?
Could
we fit?
No.
No?
No. You're too long.
This isn't Mr. Bean's car,
You're
you
too
guys.
long. I'm too wide. Nope.
And Joel is just right?
Just right.
Joel would fit. It's fine. Yeah, he'd be fine.
Oh, I guess I'm a little sad.
Under 6 feet club. Hot cars are made for short people, idiots.
I'm jealous. Wow, that is really short privilege, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
Wow, I'll never be able to drive a Miata.
No,
I'm a little sad about
you
this.
could fit a Miata in your pocket.
But this is a very nice looking car.
Yeah, it's beautiful, right?
Wait,
And
wasn't this also in Spectre? Is this the same car that was used in Spectre?
This
Zach,
was-
can you confirm that?
this
at
was
the
used
end of
for-
Spectre.
yes, yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
It's in a couple of them. It's also in Casino Royale.
It's not the car that flips that leads to the bad thing,
No,
right?
that's a what is that car that flips in Casino when he almost runs over Vespa?
Because I don't want to
Oh
drive
no,
that.
that's a DBS.
Because then you end up in a chair.
That's a newer one.
Yeah. Okay. But this has turrets, a champagne cooler, a fax machine, a bulletproof shield, and ejector seat as well. The fax machine, I would have to use it while driving it on the date.
Just send her little notes?
Yeah, exactly. Who even has a fax machine anymore? It's so fancy, though, and obviously I don't think I'd be able to drive it well because I couldn't fit, but I would drive it really slow just because I would not want to get a single scratch on this vehicle. It's just too pretty. And I feel like this is the only car, at least on my list, that has a dress code.
Yes.
Granted, this is James Bond anyways, but
It's
this
tank
car is
tops
way
and
too
jorts.
fancy. Yep. The jorts?
Yep.
Can I wear my Heelys in there?
Sure.
Nope. Not safe. So yeah, DB5. Zach, I'm a little ashamed you haven't mentioned this one yet.
It felt too obvious.
Here I am.
The most obvious.
I'm super
answer.
mainstream.
For me.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
No,
What?
I'm glad you mentioned
You
it.
can't just say he's mainstream.
Super
It
mainstream.
is mainstream. I am shocked. Specifically, you, Joel, did not mention this gorgeous car. This comes from a movie in which a high school wise guy is determined to have a day off from school despite what the principal thinks of that.
Oh, yeah. Ferrari.
This is the 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California replica, which they called the Moderna GT Spider California.
Yes.
It was not a real car. It was, in fact, a replica of the 61 Ferrari. But it's the Ferrari from Ferris Bueller.
And that is a fantastic prom car.
Imagine you show up, because here, what's the purpose of a prom car? What's
you
the
have a
purpose
kiss
of
for
having
daddy?
it?
To be flashy.
2 weeks. To be impressive.
Right.
Who do you want to impress?
Your date?
Your date and
Your bros?
her
The parents?
and her father.
Oh, okay.
And I think that is, I mean, sure, he's not going to look at some British car, an Aston Martin, something
Sloan, Dan.
fancy.
Come along
and go, well, I don't know if that's impressive. But he is going to look at one of these British vehicles that you've picked and say, wow, there's no way it's going to make it to prom. And it's certainly not going to make it back because the electrical system's going to short out. But
Rude?
This Ferrari, which only slightly more reliable, is made more reliable by the fact that it's not even that real, and it's just a chassis that they built and put a Ford engine into.
It looks pretty, though.
It looks wonderful. So come on, a classic red Ferrari. I wanted to go.
And here's the thing. I know for a fact, Zach, that it can be you and your date in the front, and Kent can be hiding under the little cover in the back.
There you go.
I'm hiding?
Your camera.
Yes.
Oh,
You are
Oh, I am Cameron.
Yeah.
Let my Cameron go. When they destroyed the car in the movie, so it wasn't actually worth all that much money.
No. This is it wasn't
Fiberglass
actually.
shell.
At no point was it
Jeez.
actually driving a real
They
61
spent
Ferrari.
they spent
Every
more money
single
fixing
impact.
the windows that they broke through. They had to replace all the windows in this guy's house. than that
Stress
car.
every time.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's
Such a
that's like in
moment.
Gone in
Yeah.
60 Seconds when they crush Eleanor. Hurts
Yeah,
my soul.
right.
No, it's luckily when it comes to these rare cars, they're very rarely actually damaging them in the movie. For example, we mentioned Spectre. That Aston Martin gets blown up. It's like a 3/4 miniature.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've actually saw it at the James Bond museum exhibit.
That
once.
is cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
But I think that this is a beautiful car. Honestly, red Ferraris in general. I mean, I could have gone with a Magnum PI Ferrari at this point, but I just you can't deny
Ferraris.
the classic looks of an older Ferrari. Even if this one isn't even real, it still looks super good. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
All right.
Excellent choice.
And our final category, we want to end on a positive note. So this is the car you wouldn't drive even if you paid me.
Yeah.
What-
We're not going to drive it. You've been paid me.
I'm a sore loser, guys. It's just a fact, and that is why I'm choosing the Mutt Cuts van from Dumb and Dumber.
It's a good choice.
This may be the most crossover from a previous
Yeah,
episode to this
absolutely.
episode.
It's a really good choice.
I hate this vehicle.
Yeah.
It has tan carpet on the inside and outside. There's no difference here. Granted, there's a ton of stuff you can fit in the back. This
It's a
is
shaggy
a van.
wagon.
Exactly. But and it even has the leg that you lift for the gas tank, which I think is actually pretty funny.
Pretty clever.
But everyone would be staring at you all of the time.
Yep.
And nobody wants to be noticed that much. Right? This is just
I could see that.
kind of a dated 90s memorabilia sort of thing to even have.
This has got to be a museum somewhere.
This is kind of like if you're driving the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. That's the kind of looks that you would
I've
get
seen
while
it in
driving this
person.
thing. Yeah,
It was
right?
glorious.
It's kind of a celebrity. But I think this one would be like, really? You bought that for how much? It's like $12,000. It's fine. I made my own. It's just hideous. And so I would never want to
It's a
drive
giant dog on wheels.
it. Right.
So I get it.
And it breaks down really easy as well. So
It can catch air, though.
it sure can.
Remember when it flies up and all the dogs fly? Man,
Nope,
that movie's
not funny whatsoever.
Oh, you
Zach,
laughed. I heard
save
you.
it. Nope.
I tried to only use like franchise movies one time. So I really, my instinct, and I might catch a lot of hate for this, my instinct is to say Brian's Eclipse from the first Fast and Furious movie, because I wouldn't be caught dead in that car. It's just not for me.
Okay.
However,
What color is it?
it's green. The green one at the beginning. Yeah, there you go. However, this is also based on last week's show. There's a car that in the beginning would be great and be awesome, and I'd love to drive it. But by the end, no way would you ever see me in a 1967 Plymouth GTX convertible featured in Tommy Boy.
Yep. Okay.
Of course, on Tommy Boy, after his auto parts tycoon father dies, the overweight, underachieving son teams up with a snide accountant to try and save the family business. You know, it's a classic road trip movie where the car ends up getting completely destroyed.
Yes.
And so what I'm thinking specifically is
Throughout the course of the movie.
Throughout the course of the movie, you know, that once they have the door breaks off, the deer
Yep.
Rips
totally
the hood.
destroys the thing.
Yep.
Pretty much at that
The
point,
hood
as
flips up.
as they try to put it back together, it just gets uglier and uglier with cardboard and tarps and all sorts of nasty stuff. So by the time that movie is over, what they're driving up to in their sales calls, no way would I ever even think about driving.
So now at the beginning, you'd be fine with it.
Oh, the car as it is. I mean, it's a perfectly good car. I'm not.
But it's kind of accident prone. It's jinxed.
Yeah, I'm not much of a Plymouth guy.
Yeah,
but they're fine. But that car is destined.
So not so much here at the front of the movie or here at the end of the movie, but right here.
Well played.
Yeah, there you go. Joel.
This whole time, gentlemen, we've been talking about car sentience and how sentient cars.
We okay.
It's been a topic we've all been discussing.
Let me see.
But how they're my buddies and I love them and they're wonderful. But
I do have the gadget mobile.
There is
That's
a dark
sentient.
side to this coin, gentlemen.
Oh,
and her
no.
name is Christine.
I knew it.
There we go.
Christine.
So, Angel. No, Christine is a Stephen King, a movie based on a Stephen King novel. The synopsis is: a nerdish boy buys a strange car with an evil mind of its own, and his nature starts to change to reflect it. This came out in 1983. Stars a bunch of people you don't care about, and
It's a killer car.
It's a killer car. It is a classic red and white 1958 Plymouth Fury. It's a two-door hardtop that has a mind of its own and a jealous, possessive personality.
What color is it?
Red and white.
Do you feel like once you get in this car, it's going to fall in love with you and kill everyone that is getting in the way of you in the car?
Pretty much.
Okay.
That and this movie sucks.
Oh, I know you hate this
I've
movie.
talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
I hate this movie. It is a waste of time and space.
But obviously, purposely, it's a pretty car.
But they couldn't
classic
even
car.
get it right. In the radio ads promoting the film, they called it a 57 Fury. And it says 58 Fury in the book, but then that doesn't make any sense because 58 Furies only came in one color, sandstone white with buckskin beige. That there were details that were incorrect in the novel. Stephen King said this car was only available as a two-door coupe. The book described it as a four-door sedan. They also said it had a shift lever for an automatic transmission, but in real life it was push-button controls. Stephen King didn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
This movie is awful, and I hate it, and I hate this car, and I hate that it would kill my friends. But more importantly, I just hate this movie. 23 cars
You
were
hate
made
this
for this
movie
film.
more than the fact that it would murder your loved ones.
I didn't say loved ones. I said friends.
Oh, wait, Zack?
I win. Really, the only cool part about this movie is when the car gets all smashed up, but then it gets reconstructed. It rebuilds itself. That is the only redeeming quality of that stupid movie because that part was cool. So yes,
This is the opposite of your car.
what? Yes. What?
Tess? It's fine. Sorry.
Why would you do that to
I
her?
know. Sorry, Tess.
15%.
Zach, it's killing. Kent, you're my friend now.
No, I don't
You're
want
my
to
friend.
be your friend.
Christine's going to murder you. Zach
Wait,
and I are back.
Best friends? It's worth it. Hey!
I was like, is it worth it?
For you to call me your best friend.
So there you go, Christine.
15% of the budget of this movie was used on cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I like about it, though, is the sound of Christine is...
Think of me fondly.
The sound of Christine is a 1971 Mustang 428 engine. So
It's a confused car.
pretty happy of how it sounds.
Yeah.
It's good for me.
So there you go. There is our list.
Not random whatsoever.
No, not random. Movies we've never talked about on Baconsale before, but we have our list of fictional cars that we know, that we love, that we hate, and we want to know what you think. Do you have a fictional car that you know and love or hate that you want to talk about? Let us know on Facebook. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know on Twitter. Play along with us. We love hearing your submissions.
Before we go, we want to thank some patrons in a couple of categories, including the I Am the Listener tier, which is Briggs is Hot, Angela Plotz, Casey Cummings, Juice the Cooler King Swallow, Andrew and the Cold and Dark, Sir and Madam Hicks, Jennifer Kilkowski, Taylor Sanderson, Rocky and Steph, Adam and Rachel Crump, Ryan and Marley, Dave Kelly, Lady Terry A. Finley, and Scott Sprague. And then we have the Bacon Council, which is Debbie Foster, Glo Clendaniel, our favorite couple, the Madsons, Johnny English the Brick, Star Wars expert Kyler, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Stephen everyone's favorite Ross, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Nicole Deke Hale, and Beaker.
Thank you, patrons. You are the chitty chitty to our bang bang.
That was awesome.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel, or you can find me performing with Quickwits. They perform at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Kenny3DD. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you want to connect with me on social media, bummer. But more importantly, make sure you're following Bacon Sale. Go ahead and like that Facebook page and visit at Bacon Sale on Twitter and Instagram. And while you're doing that, visit tpublic.com/baconsale where you can get yourself some Bacon Sale merch. We always love to see it. But take a picture, post it on social media. It's awesome. And if you like the show and you like what's going on here, visit patreon.com/baconsale where support starts at just $3 a month. You can get access to all sorts of behind the scenes content and the mostly weekly Bacon bits that sometimes we do just to appease people sometimes. Patreon.com/Baconsale. So until next time, good news, Joel. I just found out that Tess has become sentient.
Pioche spinner.
Jean-Claude Miserable.
Oh, Pioche.
I love that you said that. Some of that's right, too.
Yeah.
I believe it had a 351 crate motor. But,
Well, yeah, okay, you got to have a crate motor.
the motor that
It's
came
not
in it.
Cubit?
It's a cubit.
Yeah.
That's
a
in the
cubit.
Bible.
I'm the ugly one here.
You know you're not. You're beautiful.
And you can chase people in the desert.
Why are you chasing people in the desert?
No, I didn't say I will. I said you can. I don't know if it's the engine or if he keeps the bad guys in there.
Oh,
right?
probably, yeah.
Because he never kills. He just
It's
stores
Arkham
them in the
Asylum.
Batmobile.
Yes.
Joel and I are best friends, and not Kent.
I now get to pick a best friend.
You can pick a best friend, but it's a car.
Bumblebee will help me get Megan Fox.
I don't want a guy who turns into a car whenever he gets hot.
I could help Kent get girls.
Yeah.
Because I can lock him back.
Love it.
What?
Wait, what? No, don't love it. What did I say? What did I agree to that?
Family friendly. If you want to be their lover, Ken, you got to get with their friends.
And so I can fit people or small Egyptian statues.
Probably it'll break down, but I have all those gushers.
He died doing what he loved, eating gushers.
Gushers are going to mess anything up, but may kill a dinosaur.
The only way you can disappoint me is by not picking me up for prom, Joel.
Aw, wait.
You guys are best friends and prom dates? Are
You're
you
too
guys?
long. I'm too wide. Nope.
And Joel is just right?
Just right. Under 6 feet club. Hot cars are made for short people, idiots.
I'm jealous.
I asked you a follow-up question. Was it right? We're still friends. Work talk.
Always so fun.
Work talk.
I am Kent Dunn.